Welcome, everybody. It's another BS podcast. I'm Excl. This is where we talk RuneScape with people past and present, see what they've been up to. Today, Kyle couldn't make it. He just moved yesterday. He's still without internet, so he's off in the nether trying to get connected. I didn't think he was going to be able to make it, and he didn't. So it's just me today, but I do have with me Chiszle, who, if you're not familiar with the old school RuneScapers, Chiszle back in the day may not have got as big as some of the other people, but he was like the gold standard for video editing. He knew how to do everything. Everybody looked up to him, asked him questions about how to do everything because he knew how to do it. He was the master of video editing. So Chiszle, or Mark, it's great to talk to you. How have you been?
Hey, thanks. Thanks for the great introduction. Good.
Well, first, I got to ask you though, where does the name Chiszle come from? Because I've never actually asked you that.
All right. Yeah. I've never really explained that. So my grandmother's last name from her mother's side was Chiszle. Chiszle was a Scottish Gaelic name.
Oh, okay.
I like the sound of that. I was into graffiti for a while, so I used it as my graffiti tag. I changed it into Chiszle.
Okay.
Like a RuneScape item, a chisel. I had 200 of those in my bank, all the way at the top. I looked at it like, that sounds fun. I should change that into a graffiti name.
Oh, okay.
I did that.
There you go.
And then I made a YouTube account in 2006, and I needed a name.
2006.
And there were all these names still available. Yeah, 2006, a lot of names were still available, so I thought, I'll do my graffiti tag. I chose Chiszle. Cool, landed that. YouTube blew up, and I rolled with it.
There you go.
So if it wasn't for these weird little details, I might never have been here in the first place.
So
it's a good question to
I'm
start
just going to say, this is the first time I've actually talked to you in person. I've talked to you all the time on like various chat programs, but I don't think I've actually talked to you in person. Is this the first time you've heard my voice? Like talking to you directly?
Oh, no, I think we've been in calls before. I popped on places. Like what I do is I pop up unexpectedly. People like, hey, what did it say? That's Chiszle. Okay, I guess so. So I've probably hopped on a little call, but we've never gone one-on-one personal like this.
Okay, yeah.
Never really fired off questions and answers.
Oh, that's good. It's good to finally get a chance to talk to you. I've always looked up to your editing skills. In fact, your video for the first Machinima contest, the one that I ended up winning, you made a video about was it like Bandos and the other gods? Oh, yeah. And
the parents on the gods exposed.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, there's no way I'm going to beat this. This is ridiculously good. And for whatever reason,
so good about that video.
It didn't even make it as a final.
Didn't even get nominated.
Yeah, I was like, how is this not nominated? This thing is like so far in a way better than mine, but
there's so many good people. I think because I don't know, we're all kind of insecure about our creative side.
Yeah,
I look at it. That's probably the best video I ever did because of the time constraint. I pulled that off in like less than 20 hours. I used to slack a lot. I pulled that one off in a pretty short time. And I first I made like a 6-minute long video and I chopped it down to 2 minutes. I'm also proud of that. But if you look at the overall competition, a lot of other YouTubers, they're just better. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna quit because they were better, but yeah.
Well, Aunt Venom said that it was because the Jagex like put as everybody released it, they put everybody into like a group. And then whatever the best video of that group was, they would pick that as a finalist. And it just turned out that like his video, your video, my video, we're all in the same group. So whatever reason, they just picked mine from that group, and everybody else, like there was a whole bunch of good videos in that specific group. And I just happened to win that group. So
you also make a really good impression.
Of who?
I'd say, no, you make a good impression because I think it's also a little bit of politics. There's a bunch of guys in an office and like, who do you want to have win? It's like, I don't know, this guy, this Excl guy, he's pretty cool. They probably reference like the little idea that they have, like, oh yeah, he also made that video.
Yeah, I think it's the fact that I kicked Mark. I kicked their CEO in the balls during my video. It's probably like won them over and got me into the finals. But you never know. But
it's just good. You were smart like that. Like I just made my video about what could I edit to make. How can I make it look cool with editing? Yeah. Secondly, I need a story. Oh darn, I'm not that good. I got to make something happen. But you were just like, you just thought like, oh yeah, what will be funny to show? Oh, kicking Mark in the balls and stuff.
I really had no idea what to do. Honestly, that was like the whole video was the thought process for like, what am I going to come up with? Because I was sitting there with my friends, like, what am I going to make a video for? I have got no ideas right now. I had like kind of tapped out all my good ideas. I'd like made the bronze dagger video like just a few months before, and then something else that was like pretty decent like just before that. I was like, I've got no ideas. What am I going to do? And then the people are throwing all these ideas at me, like, why don't you make a music video? I'm like, that's not going to work. I'm going to get like copyrighted strike. There's no way. And then I was like, wait a minute, why don't I just make a video about this and then well, just make it work? And that's sure enough, that's what I did. And then threw in the little kick for Mark Earhart, and it turned out good. So sometimes you just get
I gotta
lucky.
go rewatch all those, because I don't know if those are still up, the videos you talk about. Sometimes you reference stuff and it's not even a line anymore, or it's like from 12 years ago.
Yeah. But what have you been up to for like the last 10 years since I've last talked to you? How have you been?
It's 2021, so we're bracketing 10 years back to 2011. 2011 is probably last time Snivik saw me in real life.
Probably, yeah.
Let's say the past 10 years, mainly running a video editing business.
Oh, really?
Traveling to meet my RuneScape friends, YouTube friends. It's been a long project that's never ended. Oh, it's too many. Could we leave that for a minute?
Sure, yeah.
Because it's like I'm trying to summarize in my head, like succinctly, the past 10 years in context.
Okay, one question at a time. I'll
No, you're free to mix it up and throw many at me, but just forgive me if I'm going to put some on hold. Tease for later. So the past 10 years, it sounds very official and big, like I run an editing business, but it's gone from big to small. I've run for teams of editors and just me by myself, freelance. I've done a lot. Video editing for YouTubers mainly, sometimes for small companies. Pretty bland stuff. If I look back at the videos I produced, it's all stuff that was done in a couple of days. Nothing really major, like
wedding videos,
big production. 1 or 2 wedding videos. It's I feel a bit disappointed in that I just went for the money, not so much for quality.
Mm-hmm.
That's what paid the bills and the travels. And those travels, I would talk about, since I kind of stopped uploading, I felt like, okay, I'm not that interested in RuneScape as a game. I'm more, energized by the people I've met.
Yeah.
And I kind of hated how those people were inside my computer all the time. And I wasn't in a good, home situation when I was living with my parents, 10, 15 years ago. I felt like I want to break free, want to go into the world. And I just I filled a backpack, and I started as a dumbass, just throwing myself to countries where I had no business being, ending up knocking on people's doors, like, hey, you knew I was coming, right? And half of them were like, yeah, but I didn't actually think you'd come.
Oh, man.
Even though the planning was there, I told them I'm taking the plane at this time, I'm arriving at that time.
Oh, my God.
Some people didn't believe I was going to travel. So that's been the past 10, 15
Where
years.
Where have you been? What countries have you gone to?
We blasted off first to UK. I've been a lot in the UK, meeting YouTubers and RuneScapers over there. Been to Jagex once. Oh. Eastern Europe, hit up that place. And then I went to North America a whole bunch of times.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I met most of your friends, buddy.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you did some editing for a couple of my old friends too, didn't you?
Yeah, old friends? Oh, man. Do you have old friends? Everyone remembers Excl. Come on.
Well, they're still old friends. I mean, they've been friends for a long time. Not that they're no longer my friends, but.
Oh, sorry. I read into that wrong. Old friends. I was like, okay, don't talk. Like my old friend Snivik. He's in here somewhere.
Yeah, he's around.
Don't talk to Snivik in a while. Oh, man. So yeah, that's I've been working for a couple of your buddies, log.zip, Scouters Minecraft, doing really very basic, just editing for their YouTube channels. The videos you see, just, nice and basic stuff. Pays the bills because it's repeated business. I can just do that every day.
That works. I've been able to meet a couple of people myself. So I wanted to show you, and I briefly showed you before the image. I got to put it up on the stream, but I believe you drew this image right here. Is that something you drew? Because Bum said you drew it, and then he used it in his video for his Machinima contest video. And I was like, "That's
this one. This is a mouse mat or a piece of cardboard. You got a picture?
What's that?
This thing that just pulled up on the screen for the guys who aren't watching.
Yeah.
These are free characters. This is what's it called? Low resolution, 8-bit.
Yeah.
semi 8-bit. Renders of RuneScape characters, and the ones you're seeing is Bum on the right, that's you, Excl on the left, me in the middle. And that I don't think I've worn that outfit. I think it was one of my accidental outfits that I wore when I was switching items around in the bank. I just took a screenshot of that, and people started drawing me like that.
Yeah.
So that middle one, I guess that's me. Yeah, the Fur-Days Mage Bomb, I wore that a lot.
So did you draw this image, or was this something you picked up? Because Bum told me you drew it.
Oh no, I don't think I drew. I maybe have drawn the middle one because I recognize some elements of that, but definitely the one on the right and the one on the left, that's Bum's work. Or his work. A bunch of guys took this and did a way better job at it. I just drew out the outlines.
I've seen the other one. There's one where they drew 20 different guys, and it's all kind of the same style. but I was under the impression that you had drawn the original. And then Bum Bum put it in his video, like the Machinima contest when he won. He's like sitting in a chair and he's got that picture of us like in the background. And I was like, "Oh, dude, that's awesome picture. Where'd you get that?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, Chiszle made it for me." But
yeah, it's wonderful how I drew those for like 2 or 3 years, and then Bum Bum starts using them. People are like, "Yo, that's cool, dog. Let me get one of those." And the whole time I was like, "What? I drew a whole bunch of these. Nobody wanted them." That's what I like about Bass. Bass is like this, has way more meme potential.
Yeah.
He drew this one himself. These are quality versions. These are like cute ones. Whereas I drew them and they were just like tried to like get the outfits look cool. He just drew these like that's your character. Remember you looked like that, and that's Bum.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of how Bass has rendered this. It's way better than me. And all the autographs around this, yeah. But this is a piece of artwork where he took the middle one that I drew and he added 2 of them to it.
Oh, okay. So you were the original though. You started off with the original one.
I guess you could say like some groundwork.
Yeah.
But it's MS Paint. I never had like money for Photoshop or something.
That's legit artwork. Anybody that could do artwork in MS Paint is a Picasso in my book.
Oh, thanks. I was always jealous of people who had tablets and stuff, because anytime I tried to download like Photoshop or something, I tried to download it illegally and it would crash the family computer and I'd be on the hook or something. So I stuck to MS Paint, and then I drew one of these, and I guess Bass liked them. So
that's great. Well, you can see I've got your signature on that, but I don't know where that came from because that was at Runefest. I was passing it around.
One.
Well, you
Bass probably either copied it or he. Look, I've signed stuff for Bass when we met up like a bunch of 2 nerdy teenagers. We were like in the middle of a train station. We were signing each other's stuff. And I might have signed something, but I don't know if Bass gave you that.
Okay, that might have been Bass. Because I knew you weren't at Runefest, and like I had handed it out. I'm like, everybody go sign this. So people were grabbing it, signing it. I got it back, and it was like Chiszle. I know Chiszle's not here. Well, how did he sign this? But
so I got pretty darn close to going there, though.
Oh, okay.
The last time I said no to a trip.
Have you been there before?
I've been to 3 Runefests in a row.
Oh,
loved it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got to catch up with you next time you're in North America. Let me know. I got to get a legitimate signature from you because you're
sure.
one of the ones I want to get. I want to try to get as many old school video makers on this as possible. I think I got most of them, but it's like I got.
If you have Civic already on here, do you?
I don't think I've met Snivik, so I don't have him. That's another guy. You two will have to get a flight and come on over.
Well, if you come and fly down here, you could meet me, Snivik, Bass, everyone. You could probably you can borrow our car for all I care. You could drive and meet everyone within a day. It's a pretty small country.
Yeah, I have to convince my wife for that. Like, wow, can we leave the kids for 2 weeks and go to the Netherlands? No? Okay, all right.
It wouldn't work if I fly over to look after your kids for you, and then you fly to Europe and miss me. So, man, Soundcore and Venom the Noob Show, Gizzy Gaza, KK.
Yeah, I've got a lot of the old people. I some of them are the Minecrafter guys that took off like afterwards too. So, but yeah.
Thanks, Austin. Some guy says he misses me. Cool.
You got your own fans. Look, they're all coming back to say hi.
Oh, I never had fans. As soon as somebody tried to pull off the whole "hey, I'm a fan" thing, I made sure I got them on Facebook. I got them on MSN. I got them on Skype. I talked to them because I wanted to always I wasn't big, so if people would start glorifying somebody who just has as much fame as your local grocery store owner, I mean 20,000 people check into the grocery store.
20,000 wasn't bad for the day. I mean, that's still pretty decent.
And I had 20,000 subscribers and 30,000 at some point, if I could believe the stats. But I don't think most of those were duplicate accounts.
Yeah.
If I get a bit humble, say 20,000, it's still a lot. Woo. It was too much for me to handle, because at that point I felt like that's a big pool of people. That's all the views I'll ever want. That's all the I can get voice actors out of that. I can get other editors out of that. I always felt like that was a nice group. And it turned out that's these 20,000 people talk about. That's like you. That's the Noob Show. The 1,500 of those at least are the YouTubers.
Yeah.
So that was. It was I've looked at the number, that's 20,000 subscribers, but that's not abstract. I could get to know a lot of those people.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to do the whole thing okay guys, we got 1 million subscribers now. Yeah. Oh, we got 2 million subscribers. Where it's just this abstract number, because I thought that was a waste. If at any point that was going to be my top 20,000. I was going to milk it. I was going to get all the friends and all the contacts out of that I need, and that's what happened. I didn't grow any bigger.
Yeah,
and I made lots of friends.
I'd have to say 20,000 is probably like the butter zone, because after that it just gets hectic. Where like everybody's trying to like jump on you and get in your videos, and it becomes like kind of a circus to maintain. But 20,
I don't know if that's the same nowadays. But back then, I remember everyone who had 10 to 50,000 subscribers was getting too many video comments already to respond to. You'd get every minute a notification, somebody commented, or somebody subscribed.
You had to turn off notifications that are around the 10,000 point.
There's a lot more actual traffic, whereas now everything's so streamlined. YouTube's so optimized in the sense of a business that they get a lot of ads and a lot of clicks and a lot of views, but very little comments, very little, friendly social interactions going on.
Well, they took away the whole messaging system. You can't even message people anymore, which I kind of miss. But
they turned it into like a library where people just go to, instead of read books, just like watch videos.
It's like a museum where they just have the video makers like on display, and then you're not allowed to touch.
Yeah, that's a good, not allowed to touch. Oh man, I started back when I was always making videos, but I never really uploaded them. My first video probably was 2003, 2004.
Yeah,
and it sat on my computer, and I showed it to friends when they came by. It was like little MS Paint animations.
Oh, okay. It wasn't like RuneScape stuff. When did you start the RuneScape stuff?
The RuneScape stuff was 2006. I got my screen recorder. I started chasing after PKers and RuneScape glitches. I was trying, when Falder Massacre happened in 2006.
You got original footage?
No.
Okay.
I was not there, but I saw the run up. So there was a house party in 2006 of that guy I Cursed You, and the people who are on the screen recordings that I saw of that house party, I was hanging out with them before then because they were looking really rich, and I felt like, oh, you're so rich, you have party hats, I want to hang out with you. I took screenshots and video recordings all the time, and I also got some recordings of people going to that party, but I didn't go to the actual party. But I liked how I remember the day because of that, because I can still go and look back at those screenshots if I crack open my computer. Yeah. So like it was stuff like that. That's how I started, and there were names like LV Mage and all these obscure PKers who had their little cult followings on YouTube. And I had no views myself, but I would just jump on that. I would go see what the clans are doing, see what PKers were doing, see what glitches were happening, the riots. There were constant riots, and I was like screen recording that. So important. I wasn't really good at editing yet, but I would just start pushing stuff online, getting no views. Cool. And then I met, I didn't meet the Noob Show yet. I saw a video by a guy called, he was going to be the Noob Show later. It was Rune Video or Bronze Noob, whichever one was the original one. And he used a private server to no-clip through a wall in RuneScape.
Oh gosh.
And he turned it into a comedy video. So there was this character standing somewhere, and he said a line, and then a character would run through a wall across like a little pond of water. And me being a young, little impressionable RuneScape player, I'd see it like, whoa, he edited that. Wow, how did he do that? And then, of course, he was no-clipping it on Moparscape. Cool. And he uploaded that video. That was a comedy video already back then. No-clipping across across something you can't walk through. It's like, oh, that's funny because you can't actually do that. Oh, did you do that? Cool. And then I messaged him on RuneScape. He replied, met up with him. And then I got a screenshot somewhere of me, him, and another guy. And it was like, this was all before there was any real RuneScape comedy or even RuneScape YouTube, ecosystem. There was just a couple of loose YouTubers who upload videos with titles like RuneScape or RuneScape PK Vid 5. That was an RSMV, maybe was starting back then. And then from there on, it went really quick because we all wanted to make comedy videos, not because there was views or any money, but we just wanted to, that's I guess what we wanted to pull off. So we started doing that. All of those videos were terrible. If you go back, they they aged terribly.
Yeah, all my stuff was terrible too. I know how that goes. It was the Wild West of video making. People were just trying stuff.
I might also not want to go back to yours. I look back at mine, and my voice and everything is very cringy. Very cringy.
Oh yeah,
and that's part of the course. Because most things you do are cringy and just don't upload them. But back then we were idiots. We uploaded it. We just went like, oh, it's 2006, 2007, put it online. And then I say 2006, but my channel is from 2007. I started uploading 2007. For 2007, I didn't really upload, so I haven't checked my old videos in a while. I remember cringing at them.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much everybody. Everybody that goes and looks at their stuff from 12 years ago is going to cringe at what they made.
Yeah. So people, so Totsi refers to there as like the Noob had a video series called Gods Exposed, which was the first big hit RuneScape related that was on YouTube, which kind of went outside of the RuneScape audience. They uploaded it to Machinima as one of the first properties of RuneScape that was slightly popular with non-RuneScape people. And the Noob Show had me help on that, so that was always my little claim to fame. I don't know, you probably worked on the first episodes too.
No, I didn't work with him till later on. Like he was kind of already blowing up, and by the time I blew up, they're like, oh, okay, you're cool now too. And then I did some other videos with him, but I never really worked on the Gods Exposed stuff. What did you do on Gods Exposed? Were you editing or were you acting for him?
So let me just sketch out. This is for how many people watching? 9. Okay. Guys, we're going to be going back to, we all know the Gods Exposed, the Noob Show. We love him. We don't know what ended up with him. He's just gone right now. He's in Canada somewhere, just living his life. But this is back in the day, 2008, something like that. We're on either MSN or Skype. I think it's still MSN. Cameron, the Noob Show, he just sends me a message like, hey, we're talking about making a video. You want to hop on? Okay, hop on. There's a bunch of people in there. King Jad, Jagged Grave, whole bunch of old names that maybe we've lost, but now you don't know who these are, but they're dear to my heart. Kale Sir. I don't know if Gizzy Gaza at the time was involved as well.
Oh, wow.
We can go to the credits of that first Gods Exposed video. It was just a bunch of people brainstorming.
Yeah.
And I just spitballed gave one of my dumb ideas. Sometimes it was like, oh, no. I try to dominate the conversation and throw my ideas out there. So I spitballed a little idea, and then the Noob Show went like, okay, let's do it.
Oh, wow.
And he used like a pretty significant part of what I said. He did one-on-one. He just made that. I gave like a dumb idea, which is really hard to do, and I gave it to the Noob Show, and he was like, "Oh yeah, cool, we can do that." He had the whole idea of like the gods of Saradomin, Guffix, and Zemarak doing like a version of Trailer Park Boys in RuneScape, and you had these storylines already thought out. Mm-hmm. And for the first episode, I gave him the idea of having the King Black Dragon come in and destroy Falador because Guffix accidentally teleports him there. And how does it happen on accident? Well, it just happens on accident because he's a dumbass and he sends like a magic spell which goes haywire, flies all the way to the wilderness, picks up a dragon ends up in Falador. And then the Noob Show just took that idea, which I felt like you're not able. This like we could try to make it, but he just did it.
Yeah.
And as of that moment, I realized like we can do anything. That was of course delusion of grandeur because we were a bunch of kids with MSN, no budget, no fast internet, and hardly any kind of gaming PCs. We were telling ourselves that we could produce whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
But it so happened that the video ended up on Machinima, getting like lots of views, and I was looking at that, feeling like, oh, I'm a celebrity now. I'm big. I'm huge. I edited up. And what was my claim to fame? Like for 1.5 seconds, I'm at the end like Chiszle, helping like special thanks to Chiszle. Didn't even say what I did.
Writing credit.
So. It's some credit, so I have to like tell the story to build it up, and then people are like, "Oh, so you made Gods Exposed with the Noob Show?" I'm like, no, the Noob Show did everything. I edited one part, and I gave like a little seed.
But that like, one scene, that was all me. That's you gotta build yourself up, man.
I'm so proud of that part, though, and that kind of kicked it off. As a then, I was like, I'm not quitting this. I'm gonna keep going. I want this to keep on happening, where we do dumbass stuff, and it blows up.
Yeah. So when did you feel like your channel itself started like getting traction and you were getting views? Was there any one particular video or just slowly throughout time?
It was slowly. It was like fishing. It was like really every view I could see the one view at a time coming in. So there's a video that a YouTube comedy YouTuber did. It's called Community Channel. Mm-hmm. It's like Australian. She has a video where she says to someone like, well, I have 10 million subscribers. And then the person just reacts like, okay, well, how long did it take you to get 10 million subscribers? And she's like, yeah, 20 years. So it's like 500,000 a year. And it was at the time when other channels like Logan Paul and stuff were blowing up, like getting 5 million subscribers a month or like a year and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it was like a bit of a diss, like all the old YouTubers. We were so slow. We had like from 2006, 2007, all the way to 2010, 2011. when it was like when it was still shallow water, wasn't much happening.
Yeah.
We had we had like we could do whatever we want back then and take up all the views. And that's after that as the TV shows came in and monetization and then networks and everything became monopolized and regulated and pulled apart. So we had all the opportunities, like buying into Bitcoin early. It's like we had all the opportunities to do everything, and then what did we do? Well, I got barely any views, and some people barely got any subscribers. But we made something happen. We managed to milk it for like what? I got a few million views in total, like 4.5 million, which most of that is videos that I've taken offline because they contain swearing and other bad like adult themes, which cannot exist on YouTube anymore. Personally, I think when I send people to my channel, I don't want them to look at stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've had to like cleanse my channel, and what remains is like the kind of family-friendly stuff. So my channel is also not anymore what it's used to be. Like the traffic numbers are all skewed.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm getting nothing these days.
Yeah, it's just how it is. I never managed to blow up in that sense. I managed to blow up through people, through the noob show, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I would hop on another project, and people would make that successful, and I just tag along. I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm part of this. Look at me.
I'm part of the ride." Yeah, those earlier days were it was interesting because like you could do whatever. Like I would throw up stuff all the time. It's like, man, this is so stupid. How's this going to get views? And then it would just blow up, and I get 100,000 views, and I'm like, what is going on here?
It's still so significant though. Like 100,000 views. That's like let's say you walk into a football stadium. He asked the manager, "Hey, can we fit 100,000 people in here?" To go, "I don't know, man. 50, 60,000 maybe." And you look around all those seats. It's like it's numerous. Football games, concerts. How much is that? 6 to 50,000 people, going from medium size to large. And our videos are getting audiences which are way bigger than that. You are constantly doing like school PowerPoint presentations in front of a class of 50,000
50,000 ready to jump on you and pounce if it sucks.
Yeah, I'm also always related to like that example of in class, you're scared of giving a presentation for 15 people.
Yeah.
Well, what you're doing on YouTube is about 19,000 times bigger. So.
Yeah. And the fans are a lot more critical of what you do too.
Yeah, just like Snivik right now. I just said, to be fair, both of you had amazing upload schedules. Cough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that's Snivik's bone that he has to pick with me, because I indeed, like, I think one thing I did is I had Snivik act in videos of mine or do voice acting, stuff like that, on videos that I never uploaded.
So you say you got a whole collection of videos that haven't been released yet?
Not a collection, like loose parts of videos that were, so I was very unorganized back then. I would just send people like requests like, "Hey, I have this funny video, this script, blah blah, just voice this, do it like that, or improvise." Very unstructured. And so some people would respond and send me their creative work, their screen recordings, or their voices, and I would like, "Yep, thanks," and I'd throw it in a pile, and I'd go skateboarding with my friends or whatever. And then 9.5 years later, I'd be like, oh, I still have those. Okay, I'll just start editing. Literally, some videos like I haven't even touched until like there was a period in like 2016, 2017 where I felt like coming back to YouTube or whatever, and I actually opened up all these old projects, and I realized how many I had and how guilty I should be feeling for wasting so many people's. Because it was back like when 480p was still like 720p was still pushing it. Now it's like everyone's at 1080p already for like 10 years, and if I upload these videos now, they wouldn't even show up in subscription boxes because the algorithm is like, well, if you upload anything under 1080p, you know, you need some good stripes to pull that off. I don't know. Could you?
Plus the sound quality, like the microphone quality back in 2010 wasn't quite the same standard as it is today. But man,
that was going back. Nobody. There were so many quality disparities. Like, man, even though the last video I uploaded, I had Bass voice act, and he sent me a recording of his old microphone, and it was so bad. I was like, oh, I don't know how to tell him this. Like, your acting is fine, but this really sounds like if you dropped your phone into the toilet, picked it up, and quickly recorded a voice clip.
That was 2010 mic quality right there. That's pretty much describes it.
Yeah, he should have just used his phone. I think he actually grabbed a microphone for that. He was like, "Oh, no, I'll grab an old mic," or he has a new mic.
It's probably an old PC mic or something.
He had something.
Yeah, it's probably just an old PC mic. Those things were crap back in the day.
He's like, "Oh, I got you, man. I got you. I got my mic right here." I'm like, "Okay."
I was gonna say, Sniv wants to know when God Squad, the version of that one's coming out. He's been waiting for that for 12 years.
I've been going so good on people wanting to see the next part for about 9 years now. Like every now and then, like there's maybe 6 people left who every now and then be like, Chizzy, man, it's okay if you want to like finish the freaking video we started. I can get the passive aggressiveness in there, and I can kind of tell like, oh yeah, I involved you with that. I've made promises. It's something you did in your youth. You want to see how it turned out. Well, it didn't turn out really well. That's what I don't tell people, is that God Squad wasn't that good at all. I was accidentally just flunking my way through into something that didn't make sense, just kind of looked good, maybe sounded good.
Oh, look,
if you
great,
go back, those videos do not make sense, man. It was not lore-wise with RuneScape, didn't make sense, but I kind of like that still.
Well, God's Exposed didn't make sense in the lore either, but that one blew up, so you don't have to worry about that.
That could at least hinge on that it was quality comedy for our standard back then. Like, who's funniest? Oh, the Noob Show was one of the funniest. Was I one of the funniest? No, man. I needed everything I could get. I was like begging Sky the Kid, your voice is funny. Could you please give me one of your voice clips? I was asking Snivic and all the other people, like, you guys, when I record, you guys, it just works. So please help me out. And then what I do in the end, I just look at what I edited, and I was like, this is not good. If I upload this is downhill. It's like the last season of Game of Thrones. No spoilers, but that one wasn't received very well. I was seeing how I did the video. I was like, I'm not actually that good at this. I flunked my way into making some things that aren't really that funny, but like, yeah, could carry themselves as little memes. Kind of like how Cam's the T sometimes pulls off a brilliant line.
Right.
Cam's the T sometimes says. Comes T is a RuneScape PKer who does in real life videos where he sings about random topics of RuneScape, and he makes like these half raps. It's like he thinks he's Nightmare RH, but he's more like Antoine Dalton. Hide your kids, hide your wife. He keeps dropping gold nuggets, and he's very memeable. And I kind of feel like, well, am I going to end up like that? Because I don't know. My voice acting myself wasn't that good, and in the videos there were some memorable lines. But it was never the story. It was never really the real comedy that was intended that was funny. It was stuff like Sky the Kid having like a funny voice clip. Or one little edit looking pretty funny. So when people ask me, when is God Squad coming back? To come back to the original point. I kind of jinxed it with how what I recorded, that doesn't work. That's not a good story at all. So I have to go back and redo a lot of it if I ever want to make something out of it. And to be honest, we didn't really record that much. We recorded mostly for the first God Squads, and we didn't use so much of the footage that we recorded. And then the new ones, we were more succinct. We just recorded one shot of a lot of things, and then I put that into a video. It's still not finished. Like, it needs an ending to it. I looked at it, I was like, this is just nerdy storytelling of like, it's like a bad version of Dungeons and Dragons, which I guess is based upon RuneScape.
It would probably sell back in the day.
I thought it was better to just leave it at what it was. Just leave like with the anticipation of like, oh, this could be a cool story. Well, if I kept uploading, the next episode would be like, never mind, it's not a cool story anyway. it would be horrible.
You wouldn't believe how many times I would do a video and be like, oh god, why am I uploading this? This is terrible. And then people just love it. So you almost have to just do it and see what happens and be surprised by the results.
There's some videos where you kind of know, like, yeah, I can't pull this off. I don't know if you watched my most latest videos. I uploaded like maybe 5 or 6 in the past 5 years.
Yeah, I saw you do it. You've done a couple lately ones, yeah.
It's an attempt at comedy, and most of them is 100% me, where I play all the characters and do all the voices and do all the editing. That's always what I wanted to do. One thing I was jealous of the Noob Show is he could do videos entirely himself. All the voices, just different voices.
Yeah.
He could just have like multiple characters running around. You just need people to puppeteer like a character.
Yeah, that's the hard part, is getting the people to do it in game.
He plays one, he has 2 people joining in. I always wanted to do that. And then I figured out with editing, I could just edit people in myself. I could play on 2 accounts and just wherever it is. I could pull it off. It takes 10 times longer, but at least I know that everything's under control and I can pull it off the way I want to. And once I finish those videos, I look back like, are these actually funny? Like, kinda. Some people might think this is funny, but to me, I just like that I pulled this off.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I always wanted to make, and looking back at it now, this right now will never really get popular in this form. No. But I'm happy I pulled it off. And I've reached the point that I wanted to reach.
Yeah.
So when people say, are you going to finish series and stuff like that? Or like, why do you make this? I'm like, just because I wanted to.
Yeah.
That's it. And also the views are terrible now, like a few thousand views per video.
Oh, you're doing better than me. I uploaded one just recently and I loved it. I thought it was great. Like the humor in it was good. It was 10 minutes long. It was like, there's nothing but comedy and nobody watched. I got like, it took like almost 3 weeks before I got 1,000 views on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just not getting the views.
But isn't it so easy to just be like, I wonder what happened to Excl recently? You type in EXCL and you just end up on your page and you're there. You're for like an hour, you're watching old Excl videos. I feel that there's probably 5 people every week at least who do that, feeding you maybe 200 views a month. Because I know that's on my channel. There's like some dudes out there who come back and watch some of my stuff and they tell me on Facebook, they're my friends, like, hey man, I watched your videos recently. And I go back down memory lane with them.
Yeah.
I can see it in analytics. There's still people watching. I get lots of watch time. That doesn't really make sense because these videos are old and they didn't age well. But people go back for rewatch. And these are people I had watched long ago and now they're watching again.
Right.
And on the new videos, people don't really like those as much, I guess. But they still give me one click. But that all amounts to several hundreds of views a month on a dead YouTube channel. That's dead. Hundreds of views for me. That's still, I would like 100 views a month. I got people who get paid a lot of money to do advertising, like my friends who are in ads on Facebook, and they spend thousands upon thousands on getting quality leads, as they call them, which is what we have. Just people who like our videos.
Yeah.
Well, people on Facebook, for example, want people to like their sports team or something, and they spend like years trying to perfect something, getting like maybe acquiring 100 or like to 1,000 people a year, you know, to become clients, to become fans, or to listen to music. What we're doing is actually still kind of significant because we're getting hundreds. If you're getting maybe a little bit less, I still believe if you would push a little bit, you could probably get like a few thousand regulars per month.
What do you mean by push?
What we're doing,
like go out and start a Facebook campaign or something like that?
Be a little dirty and start like uploading daily videos and sprinkling in a little bit of not clickbait, but like polishing your thumbnails, polishing your titles. You know, not selling your soul and being like, you will never believe top 10 reasons why
that's definitely
drama.
what I would do. Yeah, I would top 10 ways to get a PK kill in RuneScape and get tournament.
You could do that, yeah.
I've actually, so my one of my best videos that I did back in the day was how to make a popular RuneScape video, and I was just basically taking a piss take on everything that people would do to get views on a video. Like they would throw the word Zezima in the tags or like,
got me.
And then back in the day too, there was like usually half naked women or something like that in the, I'm sorry, the thumbnail would take, the YouTube would take whatever the very middle of the video was and use that as the thumbnail. You didn't get to select what your thumbnail was. So people would just randomly put in like a half naked woman in the middle of their video. And just that would show up as the thumbnail. So I did something like that. And I was like, oh, it's going to be about RuneScape. So I threw some like fake party hats on them. And then I did a bunch of other things, like basically spoiling what the YouTube algorithm was. And then sure enough, YouTube came back like a year later and said, this is against our terms of service. You can't have this. I'm like, I'm just making fun of what people are actually doing. And they're like, no. And they gave me like a hard strike against my account for it. So I was like, okay. I ended up deleting the video. But that was one of my favorite videos. I've been talking about, like, I've got a Discord server now, by the way.
I should join.
Yeah, you guys should. And everybody who's listening, you should join my Discord.
Realized I haven't joined it yet. I was like, how are you going to call me? Well, you can just directly call me in Discord.
Right. But I want to, we've been talking about it. I want to come up with something like that again. Maybe not that will get me in trouble with YouTube, but just making fun or making light of like the kind of videos that get views these days and just doing something like that, like me going out and getting, okay, you got to do PKing to get views on RuneScape videos nowadays. So I would just go out into the wild and get my butt kicked in the wild because that's what would happen. But I'm like, okay, I'm doing PKing. Now I should get views on the video. Something like that. But yeah, it's all about the algorithm and doing stuff like that. That's whatever people are watching now. It's not like as creative as it used to be.
I'd love to help with a video like that. I think at some point I scribbled down a little idea I had. Let me look this up. I give ideas to a guy called Ars Will Miss It for him to look at.
Will. Yeah, we had him on. Yeah, we had him on back in January.
He's real. He's the antithesis of me. Like, I probably didn't say that word right. Funny. He's very structured, and when he wants a video, he can really pull it off. He takes just like a Danube show had. Yeah. Takes a quality idea and adds some pulls it through a lot of quality process to make it work. Something I could never really pull off because I'm like, here's an idea, and here's why it'll never happen. I just write down the ideas down. He sometimes picks up something, but I don't know. It's like 2020, 2019. Yeah, it's been a while since we did anything. But your idea you just had, where you said you want to take a piss take on how videos are made nowadays.
Yeah,
I wanted to take a piss take on how people do those. Iron Man locked special versions accounts where they play RuneScape in a certain alternative way.
And Ultimate Iron Man. No, one death type.
I wanted one where some guy, what was it? So it's about a guy who plays RuneScape, and instead of having a normal Iron Man account, where he's not allowed to trade or die. He to make it harder, he gets rid of his parents, so he no longer has his parents paying for his membership, and he's also
hard man mode right there.
He's also not allowed to use his parents' internet. He just goes completely just into the wild with Raymir's, building up a house himself and stuff. He starts building everything he needs perfectly around RuneScape to play RuneScape. So it's not just that he says, I'm not allowed to use a bank or not allowed to die. This kid actually goes out of his parents' house. He's just 11 or 12-year-old kid. I don't know how I was going to visualize this. But he's like, well, my Iron Man series, I'm going to build myself a house and a computer so I can play RuneScape, blah, blah, blah. I'm not taking any crutches. And so I wrote this thing out. And then I wonder how it ends. I think he's... there's the word clinical depression at the end. I might not have to read this.
So I've got a 12-year-old... I got a 12-year-old. I can actually get this acted out in real life.
Oh, cool. He ends up in debt. Okay, that's not a good way to end it.
Clinical depression.
Okay, that's not. He's not in debt. He's in juvenile detention. And there's internet access in the library, so that's how he gets his internet in the end.
Oh, there you go.
Good.
I need you to come by my Discord. Now that I've known you're the brains behind the Gods Exposed series, that you were actually the one writing everything. I need you to come in.
Well, hello, man. I gave him a little nugget of I don't know how many ideas are through. I just remember telling him one thing what if Gothix suddenly does this, but then actually he accidentally teleports the dragon to Faldor and everyone dies. And then the Danube is like, okay, we can do that if you edit that part.
Honestly, that's all I need. I need somebody tossing out video ideas like that, and then I can just take it and run with it. So definitely need to get you in the...
You get the best ideas if you're not able to do them. So maybe you want to get away from your computer, switch off your internet, and just sit out somewhere, and then kind of have that feeling visit of I kind of want to be behind the computer and make something. Then you can kind of just drift off what would I make? It's when I was when my parents took me to church service, when I was on a bus or a train without mobile internet. I was if I was at home, I'd be making something, I'd do some, and then I get the good ideas. But now I've always have access to a studio here. I got professional cameras and microphones for work, and I think PC. And then what do I end up making? Barely anything, just the bare minimum to make money with.
That's
so great. If you want to start making videos again, well, you probably know it better than me. But I would advise you to put yourself in a position where you used to be back and go 2008 on yourself, where it's strip away your luxuries and strip it back to your essentials, and then maybe your old creativity will revisit you.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. I've got some videos out now, and I've been doing these podcasts with Kyle, so I've got some content out there, and it definitely feels like the old days. It feels like 2008 again, where I'm just trying to find my way and come up with something that might work, and I've got to beg people for views and all that fun stuff. But at least it's fun again. I remember it wasn't too fun at one point because I just had too much popularity. I didn't know how to kind of handle that, but it's starting to feel like the old days. And then Twitch streaming's fun. I get to sit there, I get to talk with people, I get to interact, do some sort of content. What's that?
I'm terrible at talking to myself alone in a room.
I'm learning myself. It's hard, and my brain, like I said, I told before, my brain doesn't work very well talking off the cuff and coming up with funny things on the spot. But I'm learning it. I'm actually kind of learning it because my daughter is going to turn 18 here pretty soon, and she wants to do streaming. So I'm trying to figure out the ropes for her. Yeah, if you want to feel old.
You were always the guy with like the young kids.
Yeah, now they're old kids now. Now they're. You want to know what's sad?
Small adults.
All the guys like Gizzy and Log.zip, the guys that were fans of me when they were kids, my kids are fans of them now. So it's really come full circle.
Okay, that's going to go in a circle. So if this goes well, then if your kids get into like making content,
yeah,
then maybe Log.zip's kids end up being.
Yeah, that's right. My joke too is like I'll have Log's kids will be fans of my kids. we'll keep an endless cycle going here.
One of the main things the big streamers do is make a plan, go into a stream with a goal, and make and some points to talk about. Yeah, significant. That's structure right there. That's something.
Plan. That's work. Yeah. I can't come up with a plan. I'm very bad at planning things out because if I plan something, it never goes according to plan. Like I've got a list of questions that I ask people, and I ask like 2 questions, and then we go off the rails and talk about whatever. And I don't know if I think that kind of has its own appeal too. It feels a little more natural, but yeah, wing it. Mm-hmm. That's my mantra right there. Is just wing it and see what happens. And part of the appeal is me just messing up everything because I don't have a plan.
The hack with having lots of structure is that usually part of having a lot of structure is also you give yourself a time constraint. So yeah, I'm going to do this, and that only within this limited amount of time. That's actually the most important part, I feel, is that limited amount of time where you give yourself a box and like a hard consequence. Like if I don't upload this, just like that's I lose face, or like that's harm like to my reputation or something. So if you promise everyone like, hey, I'm going to upload this and that,
yeah,
you actually. Like if you actually missed a deadline at some point, you got to stop doing it, or if you actually pull it off. So what we're talking about here is if you don't have structure, you could just stick to that one. Just give yourself a time constraint. Just make something within a limited amount of time, and whatever that is, you put out there, and then you build on that. Next time you do it again and again and again.
That's usually what most streamers do. Is they grab a goal and they're like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I can only do this. And I'm trying to do that with some crossover ideas. Like I'm trying to get RuneScape themed, like hard mode for some games and figure out a way to make that. But I don't know. I'm still new to the streaming stuff. Still figuring it out. Still not very good at it. But
the ones I followed were like 2019 around the time, like people like Ice Poseidon.
Yeah.
And I knew guys like Ben Davis and Gray, the guys on the background behind it. And there was a lot of work to get those streams done. But I noticed that at some point, the main thing is that they just start streaming, and whatever it is that they had planned, they don't always pick up on it, but they made sure they had content every day. Yeah. It was very I felt like it was pretty improvised. Whereas other people may say, oh, that's pretty structured. The guy either plays the game or has like a format that he was playing out.
Yeah.
In my head, they were backed by pretty creative people. And all those people were preparing things that I never saw in the stream. Guys like Ben Davis was saying, oh yeah, we're going to set up a cooking show or a cooking stream, or we're going to have this and this guy coming in. Or Gray was in the background doing stuff. And that was all lost. It ended up just usually being Ice Poseidon with like some girl sitting on sitting on a chair making bad comments about things. And I'm like, this works too, but again, it's like it ends up being bare minimum, just for the sake of just content for the sake of having content again.
Right. Some of those things, you'd be surprised how organized they are, though. Like even reality TV shows, like not Twitch streams, are extremely organized and somewhat scripted. I mean, a lot of it's like just do this and go with it, but they still have like kind of a structure. Like, all right, look, we're going to try to do this, and there's a lot more to it than just like, okay, well, we'll just do whatever, we'll film it and then edit it. So there's a lot of rhyme behind the reason. And I think
you'd be surprised to know how little of that is actually true. Most of these reality TV shows are a complete waste of time and failures. But the editor,
the editor makes a show out of it. Yeah,
putting it back together, which is why it seems scripted, because there's a lot of footage of people just, and the editor takes the good parts and puts those together to make like a dramatic story, where they put like they zoom on someone or this or that. The camera guy, the editor, they make up for where the producers and the actual talent in the show tends to lack.
They'll invent footage too, or not invent it, but like, because I don't know if you've ever seen the Netflix, what's that called? Drive to Survive. It's about the Formula One season.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
So they got that on Netflix, but what they do is they'll take like radio messages from some other race and apply it to a race that was going on. So they'll show scenes from one race and then insert video messages that came from somebody else. And if you're watching these kind of things live, you'd like know when certain comments came from certain races. So you're like, whoa, wait a minute, that's not how it happened. So they completely edited it around to make it into a drama when there really wasn't a drama. So they get a lot of that too, but
that's what as a video editor, to make the most money is where you go there. Like movie making and stuff that's old, but you could probably charge and bill a lot for that. But if you want to make sure money, you're a young guy, you're new to the industry, you make sure you get yourself in a reality TV show. You pull off one of those shows where you just make a lot of drama out of nowhere. Yeah, that's where you make north of 10K potentially a month.
Oh my
also,
gosh.
video editing, it's complicated. But that means you never leave the office. That's you at night editing constantly on a project. And then you finish a project and you take a few months off.
How does that work? Does the editor do all that? Or is there like some sort of producer behind it saying, oh, look, those two aren't getting along. Make sure you like pull this sentence from that day and this sentence from that day and make it work. Or is it the editor making all those calls?
I've never sat with them, but I know editors that do it who are... like the personality is more powerful than the personality of the producer. So the producer may have come in with the notes of like, we're going to set these two people up. For example, like MasterChef, that show. Yeah. MasterChef is a cooking show where they have a variety of contestants and they even shop around and it's an elimination show. So people cook food for these judges.
The same formula for all the cooking shows.
Yeah. There's a cook, there's a chef who's not that good, but they keep him in. The producers keep him in because of the drama or because the person looks really good. That's what
I was getting at for the whole scripted stuff. They usually like, oh, this person's like terrible to get along with. Okay, you're not allowed to vote them out.
An editor will just, if an editor wants to, they could just ignore that and cut out lots of the sweet stuff. Like the producer, as far as I know, like they look sometimes at the final edit, but sometimes they don't even look at the final edit. There's TV producers. It's how it's structured. Sometimes the show is made to go on TV within a short amount of time. Sometimes they make a show to sell, so there's no idea as to when it will go out. So there's all these different ways these shows can be run. But what I've seen normally is that the editor guy, the big guys who edit in all the drama, they're like bartenders. There's like a guy comes up like, oh, give me this and that drink, and then the guy just waters down the drink like, okay, here you go, he's an old fashioned, there you go. And the guy, oh yeah, I'm so drunk, and then the bartender knows like, nah, you're not, dude. So the editor can stroke a producer's ego. Like producer comes in, says, I want these two guys to like do this and that, these two people this and that, and the editor goes like, yeah, sure, yeah, oh yeah, this was your idea, yeah, we edited like that, cool. And then the editor just puts in one thing. This is one trick we do, we put in something that we know the producer doesn't want. So we put in like a bad take, and then the producer goes, "Oh no, I want you to remove that bad take." And then that's the only feedback, because there's such a blatant error in there. The producer says, "Oh, that blatant error, take that one out."
That way, they don't jump on all the rest of the work. They just jump on the obvious mistake.
That's it. Because if you deliver a perfect video, the producer will come in with this
find a way to ruin
creative vision, and find like something to nitpick, and they'll get 4 or 5 people in. Like, what do you think? We should change this and that. And somebody comes in with
that's great advice.
So when you're in the editing booth with 6 people you never met before, that's when you know you're a good editor, and you're just dealing with a bad producer, because the producer's just trying to
well, they want to feel useful, so they're looking for a way to make themselves like, oh yeah, I told them to take that out. Look how great I am. That's a great trick.
They are useful. But just not always in the editing booth.
That would work for managers too. Like you just put in an obvious mistake, and then the manager wants you to turn in your work, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you need to take this out." And then you don't have to worry about them micromanaging because they feel like they've done their job. They can stick their chest out and puff up and feel like they're useful. And then you just like, okay, yeah, good catch. Let me remove that. Ha ha ha. I like that.
I don't know if anyone's listening right now. Any of my clients. Because
I'm sure. Yeah, they're all tuning in across the world right now.
this is what I do if somebody pulls me into like a team where I'm like the newest guy in, and I can kind of sense like, okay, these are these type of people. Let me just anticipate. Blah blah blah. All these politics amongst like all these human psychology games. You don't have that with my current work, where you just edit for YouTubers. You work from home. You get some files in. It's a person playing Minecraft. You edit those videos, send them off, then however long it takes, and it goes online. It's a very smooth, no nonsense process is what I'm doing right now. Doesn't make as much, but it's consistent, and psychologically you can just focus on just your craft, getting it done within the constraints of your time and your resources.
Right.
That's so much easier. Because I look back at this editing job, camera work I've done, it's pretty traumatic. It's like really sometimes you're just there to do a technical job, but you're just looking at this person next to you who's like, oh no, we're gonna have some drama, you and me. Like we're not gonna get along. I'm like, we could just get along. And they're like, nah, let's not get along.
You should have
say this to your feelings.
You should have a reality TV show about people editing a reality TV show and the drama that happens between the editors and the producers.
It could be a idea. Oh yeah, that's your idea, man. I won't steal that from you. Oh, that's Snivik. So Snivik, Excl warned me during like the pre-talk before we went to this call. He mentioned you. He said he had a bone to pick with me, and then I still had 15 minutes left before the actual podcast started. And I started thinking, okay, well, Snivik, a guy I have no beef with, he has a bone to pick with me. And I started thinking about all my wrongdoings, and it kind of clicked in my head. Did I show up at your house unannounced? You're a RuneScape. You're a friend of a friend. We know each other through RuneScape. And I kind of came to your house one time. Was that unannounced, or was it because you were throwing a party and I was invited? Because I constantly showed up at people's houses. Constantly.
You haven't showed up at my house, but I don't exactly publish my address either. So there's that. I do need to meet up with you sometime because, like I said, I need to get your signature for that picture I showed earlier. But
it's a bit of a sad story, though. Like why I showed up at people's house. I was very lonely for a period because I grew up in a small village with lots of like violent people, lots of bullies, lots of bad stuff, and I thought that was normal. So I was a pretty normal kid, and to be a normal kid growing up in like a bad environment, you start thinking you're the weird one. So I started developing some weird habits too, where I would constantly just try to not be in my village and befriend people who live other places. And to do that, it would take a lot to leave the village. It was like public transport, 2.5 hours to get anywhere. So it would be like logistically a nightmare for like a young kid as me. I was like 17, 18. So if I showed up at Snivik's house unannounced, that's probably because I was trying to get there another time. So you probably invited me for Saturday. I was like, I can't make it on Saturday, but I'll try. And I get stuck halfway up there. Trying to get there. Holland's a pretty small country, but sometimes it took me days to get somewhere.
It says you showed up at his wife's house unannounced. I don't know why he has a house for his wife separately, but
unannounced even. Huh. Bass, the Bum Show, and Snivik, those two actually met up at the airport when the Bum Show moved from Australia all the way to Holland. Snivik came to meet him at the airport, and I just happened to be there too to meet up with Bass, and that's where I met him. And ever since then, we've been these casual, I guess, online acquaintances with like a little link in real life. But I always, in my head, I always feel good about Snivik, because Snivik, I feel like he's kind of like me. He just knows everybody, and he just like casually. At any moment, there could be a Snivik going to show up, whether it was in the Minecraft scene or on RuneScape. So it's cool to see that he's still around. Oh. He's a lot easier, I guess, to get a hold of than, I don't know if you already interviewed Snivik, but he's a lot easier to get a hold of than Bass.
Yeah, Bass is impossible. He's vanished. Like I said, I had to pull all kinds of strings to get him on. I was really surprised we got him. He's kind of like the Noob Show. He's vanished completely from the internet. You can't get a hold of him.
The Noob Show lives in the same area, I think, as where I used to live. So, I still have friends of. I'm friends with maybe one or two people that he was friends with in his village, and I know some people who through my travels were like, I'm from Canada, and then I would mention the town where the Noob Show lived, and then they would say stuff like, what, you know that place? Oh, that's so obscure and small. So there's always like this little bit of a pull, like, okay, maybe I gotta go there one time, but I have to like tell him if I'm gonna be there, like, hey, I'm gonna show up there. And if I can't get a hold of him, I have his Facebook and stuff, but if he doesn't reply, then that's like, I can't go until he at least replies. That's such a shame though, because it's all set up. The more time that passes, the more these contacts I have that are gonna be less and less.
Yeah.
But then again, he's just another guy, and I'm just another guy. And if he doesn't want to meet up, I mean, sure. We had our time together for a long time, me and him. Wow, we talk ages about making videos, and he'd actually do those videos.
Yeah.
Props to you.
That's why I need to get you in my Discord.
Oh.
I need you to write. I need your writing brilliance, like you back from the news show days.
My writing brilliance or his?
Yours.
Because I could say my ideas worked because of how he made them. If I go back on MSN and read the messages I sent to him, which helped, like when we were talking about ideas, and I was just pushing my ideas in his face, uninvited, just like, okay, well, this is how you have to do it. He was like, okay. Oh yeah, I'll actually do that. He took those ideas and the way he made them work and made me feel good. But if I look back now, like I have a lot of little notes about ideas, and I read them back now, like, oh, that's not a good idea at all. No, I recently chucked out old notes because they were like, this is not good. But I was so proud of writing them at the time.
Yeah.
So many.
Anything is good. Any idea, even if it's any dumb. In fact, I like the dumber ideas. That's why I opened up on my Discord. I opened up like a mailbag channel. I want people to leave mailbag ideas because the dumber the idea, the better it is for me. Because it then becomes almost like a challenge. Like, okay, how can I make this work? And if it's a really dumb idea, it sometimes becomes the funnier thing because it's just so ridiculous that you can make it funny. So I've always welcomed like any idea, and the more ridiculous, the better.
The more ridiculous, the better.
Yeah. In fact, I remember like my first rune bag, or RuneScape mailbags I was like, I was getting all these weird video ideas of things to do, just really random stuff. I'm like, you know what? I should just make a video of like what they're suggesting just to do it. And I thought it was funny too, because like one of them was some obscure one. It was like, you're fishing and then you catch a fish and then something weird happens and then something else weird happens. I'm like, okay, well, let me do that and see what happens. It was actually kind of funny. So I always welcome like there's no such thing as a bad video idea. Even the really bad ones you can make into something funny just because it's so out there. It would work. Mm-hmm.
That's maybe we share in that, because I have worked with people who, as we make bad ideas happen, they pull out and they're like, no, this is not working. And I'm like, no, but at least we have to, I'm always way better at working on other people's projects than on my own.
Yeah.
I pushed them to finish it. I was like, oh, no, but we'll cut these corners, we'll get it done. And we get the project done, and it's a stupid idea. But it's fun to look back at it. And I never feel guilty. I don't pronounce to people, oh, look at these videos you used to make. But there's something about when you're young, 10 to 25, and you got these dumb things out there. Like, I even have in real life, not parkour videos, but videos of just me rolling off like the hills with my friends. All this dumb stuff that's so meaningless to other people, but it feels good because it's like, oh yeah, it's like it's not nostalgia, it's something better. It makes you feel like, oh yeah, I don't even know what the word is. I'm a bit speechless when it comes to that, but it's a great feeling when you see something that you made back then, and in the moment you might have been insecure about it, but the second it goes online and it ages a bit well, no matter if it gets a lot of views or not,
yeah,
you'll feel like, yeah,
it's like internal pride.
We made that stuff back then.
I don't have that. I upload all my videos, everything I've uploaded from the past. I look at it, I'm like, oh my god, what was I thinking? This is awful. But I'm glad that you feel that way. That's great that you could look at stuff and really appreciate what you made from the past. Speaking of which, what would you say? What video are you most proud of that you've done, like RuneScape wise?
On my own channel, I think the RuneScape Gods Exposed parody, which is
the contest video.
Yeah, the RuneScape Machinima contest entry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if that's the correct name, but it's about it's a play on the Gods Exposed, where the trio of Zamorak, Guthix, and Saradomin, they're established and they have like their own little popular online web series. Mm-hmm. But then there's 3 other gods in the RuneScape lore: Zeros, Saradomin, and Bandos, and they're like this like counter reflection of those 3. So they have the smart, the evil, and the dumb one, and then there's the smart, the evil, and the dumb one on the other side. So it's Zeros, Armadillo, and Bandos. And I made that video, and it's concise within 2.5 minutes, I think. It tells a story where the 3 gods see that there's a RuneScape Machinima or RuneScape video contest going on, and then they're envious of the success of the other 3 gods, and they go on a journey which would lead them to winning the video contest. And within 2 minutes, somehow I managed to make it a story where something happens. They have like an emotional development, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
a little thing at the end and a punchline. And it's well edited, in my opinion. For
very
the time.
well edited. That was the best edited video of that contest, in my opinion.
There's always some guy out there who's better, who just shows up for the first time. Like, oh, yeah, do you guys know I'm really good at this? All right, I'm out. I'm never coming back. So I'm most proud of that video. And then before that, in contrast, those videos I made before that were accidental, where I had like a good idea maybe or a concise story. But once I started making it, it kind of fell apart, and I just uploaded what it ended up becoming. That continued to happen even after the Machinima video contest entry. And I just felt like, that's fun. I'm just going to keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it became not so much my hallmark, but kind of people just remember the videos as these blurs, like, oh yeah, this funny line, or this impression. Oh yeah, it's dumb. It's funny. Yeah, cool. Nice. Hey, I'll live their life. But if you look back at those videos, they're really, really that good. So the ones that were good, that one. And I made the God Squad after that, or around that time. Snivik voiced the muscle in the video, which is like our kind of Gunforian. You guys know what Gunforian is from Gods Exposed. That's the Torva in God Squad. He voiced that one. And I was kind of surprised because I was expecting Dutch voice actors to kind of have this cliche, kind of like a certain low to their voice. It was like, well, we all have the same accent and a bad quality microphone, but I will try to voice act for you. That's what I kind of received. And then Snivik, maybe it's because he's a musician. He's got like a bit of a rock background. He kind of delivered to me like a more grungy voice clip, which totally wasn't biased with that whole accent thing. And once I got that voice clip for him, I felt like this is fun. I want to have him in the video so he could. I'm always happy to put people in too many projects. So I met his Snivik's father. Snivik's father is or was it? I think it's Snivik's father, or Jesse's father. One of them. There was a senior couple living in the house where I met Snivik, and they were also playing RuneScape. So maybe I remember properly. Yeah, maybe those are also English. They had like Jesse's dad. There you go. Okay, so that won't be any English connection there. I think Snivik's an interesting story, man. I hope you put him on because Snivik, I'm sorry I never really got closer to you. I just kept my distance because I felt like I messed up a few times showing up at your house once uninvited. Yeah, I always felt like there's something I'm pulling off here, which I don't think they're too cool with. So I'll take my distance a bit.
Stay in the night for a week, stuff like that.
Yeah, they're two cool cats. I mean, Snivik and Jesse, I think they're still together. They got married. Didn't go to their wedding, but it's neither here nor there. Through Bass was like a real great channel into meeting like just interesting people in my country. Because Holland itself is pretty darn boring and monotone. There's a few types of people.
You want me to come visit?
You can generalize it.
You got to sell it, man. You got to sell better than that.
No. They're fun. If you're from America, you come here. It's fun. Like, we're characters that we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
But to live here over the long term, either pull it off or you don't. And I like with Jesse and Snivik that they and Bass. I saw the chemistry they had together, and I felt like I kind of felt bad, like, I don't really fit in here. Oh, I kind of want to though. It was as of meeting them, I kind of really wanted to just meet more groups of RuneScapers hanging out together. Because I think RuneScapers just a certain type of gamers. I mean.
So you said you've been to 3 Runefests then?
Yeah, I've been to 2013, 14, and 15.
How did that go? How was that?
But anywhere you went had this annoying attachment with you called Amon. Snivik, you take that back. Okay, I know what you mean. So there was a guy I had tagging along on a few of my trips called Amon.
Uh-huh.
Amon is a guy, big part of my life, huge part actually. So we're going to stay in the neighborhood of the bum show Bass, and it's story time, guys. Okay.
Everyone sit back and relax.
Here we go. All right. As I start YouTube, I upload a few videos. A few people like them. One guy really, really likes my videos. We just click on that level. He is the bum show. He makes a video copying my editing style, and he does it better than me a few times. So I'm like, ooh, cool. Keep in contact with him. He apparently is part Dutch. He has like Dutch family members. Cool. But he lives in Australia. All right. I mean, there's an immigrant situation. A lot of Dutch people move to Australia. Well, he just tells me I'm moving to Holland, where I am. Oh, that's the other side of the planet. Which part of Holland are you moving to? the exact neighborhood where I'm going to school. Boom. So all of a sudden, I go from being like a kid who can't talk to anybody about RuneScape to having one of my best online buddies flying down to live nearby. That's also how I met Snivik. Snivik showed up at the airport when Bass arrived. Cool. Now I have this little ecosystem of where RuneScaper in real life can meet. Nice. But in order to go to the airport to actually meet Bass, I was in a really far away village, like logistically a nightmare, and I didn't have a car nor much money nor nothing. So in my head, like, how long does it take to bike? 11 hours or something. Yeah, I'll pass. So I take public transport. It takes a while, but I need to be at the airport really early. So what do? I go and I find a way to stay near the airport without having money for a hotel. So what did I think of? There was a guy I met 2 or 3 days before.
Oh gosh!
I started playing. So I just messaged him like, "Hey, you live near to the airport, right?" And this guy says like, "Yeah." I was like, "You're Chiszle, right?" Like, yeah. Cool. I like your videos. Like, cool. Hey, this is weird,
I like
guys.
the voice impression
but hang
too.
with me. I was like, so if you like my vids, we can hang out sometimes if you want. I could come by. We can talk. Talk about Rs and Vs and stuff. Hang out. Just I've done this before. This is a pretty cool thing. You want to hang out? It's not. You just pass. The kid immediately jumped on it, and apparently he was 13 years old.
Oh gosh!
Big problem. Not done. Okay, but am I going to back out? I choose a diplomatic route. Of course, she asked the parents, like, "Hey, your son and I are friends on the internet. He wants to meet up. Are you guys aware of this? And are you guys cool with it?" Parents are really supportive, really cool people. So I go out, and they meet me at the train station, and we have this buddy cop relationship right from the start. Like, we just like, I'm 19 at the time, he's 13. It's not supposed to work as buddies, but he's this pretty darn smart kid. And he's so like into RuneScape and stuff, and I'm this 19-year-old guy. I feel pretty old, wasn't at the time at all. I started like kind of being his older brother in a way. So I stayed with him for like a full day before we actually the next day go to. I crash at their place. Their parents and I become good friends. Everything. I'm suddenly part of this family for RuneScape. This is weird. I'll feed into the story later, but it just worked out. And I made sure I never did something like that again. But this worked. So I actually get to the airport, which is the only real goal I had. But I get to the airport, they join in. This guy Amon, he joins me to the airport to meet this big famous RuneScape YouTuber, The Bum Show. And then I walk up, and Snivik and Matthijs, another guy, are standing there, and we kind of look over like, those two guys look like RuneScapers. And then they approach us and they're like, well, you guys look like RuneScapers too. I'm like, yes. Okay, we're here for Bass, right? Yeah, okay. This is not at all what we said. Kind of how it felt, though. He had the most cool parents. Yeah, he had cool parents. Snivik's just commenting on a minute ago. So we're at the airport. We meet up. We see these two guys, Matthijs and Snivik. They're holding up, I think, a sign, something like Bass.
Came home to a welcoming committee.
Yeah. So there's now 4 people awaiting Bass. Bass lands, and we see him. He's a tall guy wearing like Dutch flag pattern. We recognize him. We join the group. We have some of Snivik's special cake that he brought along. Sponge cake. Great stuff. My first sponge cake I ever had. And we I guess part ways there after having like a bit of Burger King and talking about some nice RuneScape drama. We all had our separate ways. Jonah Tigande drama, if you guys care to know about that. If you guys have forgotten who that is, cool. We can leave him in the past. But that's like one of the major... that's I don't think like drama alert levels, like that's like TMZ level drama on RuneScape. Okay, so anyway, we go back home and to Amel's place, and I stay with Amel for a few more days, and I realize I just talked my way into a 13-year-old kid's house, and now I'm hanging out.
That gets you in trouble in the United States.
Yeah, I'm sleeping in a bunk bed, and it's Holland. It's way more. It's village next to village next to village, and who knows who? They know them. Cool. Okay, it's so cool. There's like this little social, cohesion where you could pull that off. I went abroad and had a kid try to meet up with me once in the UK. Totally different story. He lied to me that his parents were okay with it, and I show up at this person's house like, "Hey, I'm Chizzy. We work together on videos on the internet. This is that guy." And the person there is like, "I don't know nothing about this."
Uh-oh.
I was like. And the kid was way younger, I thought, I felt like the kid was like 13 or 15 or something, or like it's in my head. I was talking because you're on RuneScape on YouTube. You're talking to a whole bunch of young kids all the time, and in my head, there's no danger there except like, oh yeah, he's a stranger. Strangers could kidnap or something.
Yeah.
But actual parents will know there's a lot more dangers. So I walked into one of these situations once where it was around Runefest. So I was like, okay, everyone's meeting up at Runefest. Meet up before Runefest, after, cool. I was meeting up with people. One of these guys was way too young. And I was like meeting up. I was like, I see how this looks. I see how this looks. Oh, this is bad. So I go full lawyer mode. They go full lawyer mode. I'm like, okay, well, we just agreed to disagree. Well, it's good that we caught this problem before it escalated even further. Blah blah blah. And they weren't having it. They were like trying to tell me like, you need to leave now. I'm like, yeah, I agree, but like, you guys know what's going on, right? There's nothing really bad going on. It's just we met up. We know each other through RuneScape. And these kids apparently the parents. I don't even know if they realized this kid played RuneScape and did all this stuff and had all these connections on the internet.
Oh man.
Again, like with Almond, just a really smart, talented kid, good with video editing, and I felt like, yeah, boom, I know this kid before he got famous. That's great, yeah. But it didn't turn into that. It turned into like a bit of a nightmare situation.
Yeah.
Where I backed down and I saw like my role in this was actually pretty significant. I just went up to meet up with somebody, and I didn't verify directly with the parents. Oh my God, that's bad. So as of then, I took it way more careful because it started turning from I'm meeting people in real life from a video game. It started turning into this looks bad.
Yeah, you were starting to get on watch lists.
On database. So it's also a culture thing. I'm from like a small village, and like you babysit people constantly, and you're constantly around lots of big families. So to go abroad and realize like, okay, actually you're meeting up with someone really young, and immediately you're going to go to like the worst expectation, like this person could kidnap our son, hold him for ransom. I was like, heck, I don't even want his RuneScape bank pin. What are you guys talking about? So that was a risky situation, and luckily because nothing really bad happened. It's not legal to like meet up with people under righteous on the good pretenses. I really thought the kid was like telling his parents like, hey, this guy who I work with on the internet, we do like 3D editing together. The kid actually had like jobs. I think he was doing paid work.
Oh wow.
For another company that I worked for. So in my head he was like the real serious deal. And then he kind of walk in and I bursted his bubble for him. His parents were not aware of all the stuff he did on the internet.
Oh gosh.
All the adult like working and talking to other people who were over 18.
Oh man.
And so it was like that. I was like, oh my God. So luckily nothing bad happened to him. Just like his parents didn't know. And they reacted kind of hard because after that he left the internet, and I never really know what happened to him.
Yeah. Well, apparently Bass was the same way because he was telling us that he would like sneak out like in the middle of the night and start playing RuneScape like in the dead of night, and was doing his videos like at weird hours of the day because like his parents had no idea he was like playing RuneScape or doing videos or anything like that. And it wasn't until
he like that.
he's still at his parents' house.
He's still trying to like if he's got a relationship with his really fun girl, but he kept his RuneScape and his other nerdy interests like
secret,
needlessly covered, where everyone could tell he's got something going on.
So, are you still playing RuneScape these days?
No. I don't like. I never really seriously played. If I look back at it, other people were hitting goals, and I just got one goal ever, which was get 99 feeding. Hit it, got it at some point. And then after that, just kind of hung out the bank standing. Before bank standing was like a thing where people calling it. I don't know when bank standing was like phrased, but like the whole.
Yeah.
I was doing it for so long that I didn't realize until somebody mentioned like, oh yeah, you're wasting speed standing at the bank. I was like, oh, I thought this is where everything happened. I thought this is where people socialize and stuff. And then I found out, no, people go bossing, people go into clans. I just wasn't so good at the game.
Yeah.
I was just swinging it. I was just mixing up outfits, merching, and not doing really that much. So that slowly died. I never really officially quit. It was just like less exposure to the game, less looking at the front page for news and certain point, not even logging in to do the spins. And it definitely also philosophically didn't match up with what I was trying to do because I was trying to do something with my life, trying to see the world before I got too old or whatever it was, before I ran out of money, try to go as far and wide as possible. And just being at home on RuneScape at a certain point really stopped me from doing that.
Yeah.
So I would spend a summer at home editing videos, playing RuneScape, and then I realized I could have been in the UK and meeting up with people, or could have just been backpacking somewhere.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way. My goal was to like get the Questscape, and once I got that, I was like, okay, well, I don't know what to do now. So then I was like, oh, let me make videos. I know what to do there. So once you get into that, that becomes kind of your goal, is to like just make fun videos. You don't have anything you really want to do in the game. So I would log into the game, and same thing. I would just sit there and bank stand because I had nothing else really to do. I didn't feel like sitting there and grinding out some 99 on anything. So you just end up just standing around with nothing to do. I'm still kind of that way. If I log into RS3, I don't know what to do because it's just like, okay, well, I've done everything. But did you ever get into Minecraft? I know like a lot of the people that you hung out with got into that. Were you ever into that?
I've so Minecraft is this pretty expanded, universe of gaming elements. I just completely honed in like a weird psychopath on creative Minecraft. I told myself when I started it, I'm going to be very efficient. I'm going to start one map. I'm going to build a nice little village. It's going to look lovely. I'm going to make some screenshots. I'm going to brag to my Minecraft fans. Look what I made. I'm the best. And then after that, I can quit. So I started doing that, and about 3.5 years later, first map I lost, second map I started, it just got way too big. I realized like, no one's ever going to look at this. Why am I playing this? It was like I was always needing like a procrastination, but I didn't want to do RuneScape or another shooter game or something that I could really get addicted to, like League of Legends. So I just jumped on creative Minecraft. So I just built these levels up. I liked the way it looked, and then I looked at what I built. And it's like, even with the redstone and all that stuff, I can't use this. I can't play with this. It felt good to build, but there was like a disappointment at the end of it where, okay, this is Minecraft. I built something. Who cares? And at a certain point, I had to quit that too. But it was good. I don't know how long I played Minecraft for. Maybe for as long as I played RuneScape.
You were playing Minecraft a few years ago. Are you playing anything now? Like, what's your go-to game these days?
No, if I'm behind the computer, I got my creative software, and what else is on the computer? That's it. There's
nothing.
Multi-MC. That's Minecraft for work, because I have to record in-game footage for Minecraft. I'm literally getting not so much paid to do Minecraft, but it's part of my job.
Oh, okay.
And the less time I spend in Minecraft, the more like cost efficient I am. Yeah. So it's kind of like if I'm in Minecraft for longer than an hour, I say like, it's not good.
Something's going wrong.
So besides that, no other games. Minecraft is just for work now, and I have opened Roller Coaster Tycoon. Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 from back in the day. Yeah. It's like custom modding, and I used to love that. And besides that, just video editing software. And I got into something called Lego Digital Designer, where you can design Lego creations. But I don't know if I want to continue with that because it's kind of really geeky.
That sounds fun to me. I've always liked Legos, but. So did you get an invite for the Jagex office, or did you just show up like you did at Sniv's house and be like, I'm here, let me in?
So I don't really remember. So for me, I'm like a vampire where if you slightly even invite me in, I'm in already. I'm right there.
You just showed up.
I messaged the only Jagex mod that I kind of know. I messaged him like, hey, I'll be here at this time. Do you want to meet up? No specifics of actually being in the office. And I made sure that my availability was on a work day, so he'd be only around the office. And he asked me to actually come over to Jagex. And I walked into the office, and I said, I'm here for this mod. And the woman's like, okay, I'll ping him. The guy shows up, just so happens to be a smoking break. We go outside, we talk a little bit. He's like, I got to work. I'll drop you off. And he just drops me in one of these little side offices where another mod is working. And I just hang out with that mod for a while. And I'm just there. The only preparation this was me being sitting in the UK somewhere like, this is nearby Jagex. I could go to the office. Who knew? Who do I know at the office? Nobody, but somebody kind of. Okay. Message him one email, get a slight confirmation, and let that fuel all the confidence I need to just to walk up right to the door and be like, excuse me, I have an appointment.
Yeah, you should be like, Andrew Gower was here to see me at 10 o'clock.
I don't think I could have pulled that one out because it was like it was one of the video making team, and they're very relaxed. And we met up at Runefest before, and yeah.
Did you get a full tour, or did you just see nothing but like that office?
Well, we did walk, we did explore a little bit, but in my head I was so flabbergasted. Paul M, it was Paul M. There you go. All right, so he walks me into this office. And I'm like a nobody. He hangs out with the big YouTubers like millions of views a year and 50,000 subscribers plus, and I'm effectively like I like it's nearly like if I Photoshop my channel where the subscriber count's pretty high, but I'm getting no viewership and I hardly have any uploading consistency. Cool. So pretty much a nobody, have no real business relationship to be had with Jagex, but still I'm there. Do I act like that? No, I'm big boss. I'm like, oh yes, okay. This is the design department. Cool. I sit right next down to a designer. I'm like, you were the guy who designed my favorite item. Yeah, that one right there. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah. My team works on this. I was like, your work has been seen all around the world. People, kids, play your game everywhere. And the guy's like my age, working at Jagex, way more accomplished than me. Has an actual job and stuff lined up for him, like a whole pension plan and everything. Probably has a car outside of her and a girlfriend back at home, a nice place. He's looking at me like, okay, cool. I don't know who you are, but cool. Yeah, you're probably someone. And I'm sitting like, yep, yeah, okay. I have to go now, but nice meeting you all. And Paul Mayer knows what's up. I'm a nobody. He's about to dump me in some audio booth somewhere, and get on with his day. So we explored a little bit of the tour, and I make no impression at all besides that. And at a certain point, he leaves me at the audio booth with the guy who makes all the music. Secretly one of the best mods in the world, because he does like all the audio. Like the guy does the audio.
Oh yeah, who is that? I forgot his name too. We talked about him.
See, we don't listen to the music and audio enough, and we forget this guy's name. We need to work on this.
I like the fact that you just showed up and you're meeting random people and moving on to the next one. And
it's basically corporate espionage when you just walk into a company.
Yeah, you could have been a competitor. They never know. They just let anybody walk into the door there, apparently. If you know one JMod, you're basically in. You can do whatever you want.
Cool. Well, I got the NDA of Jagex, one of the coolest things I own, and I've owned some cool things in my life, just like some small trinkets. One of my favorite trinkets is the NDA of Jagex. They gave me an NDA. It's just a printout with Jagex's name on it, but that's an official NDA.
That's funny.
I've been NDA'd by big companies. I don't have those papers anymore. I have now made like one NDA. It's like a little printout, little cute Jagex logo, the old logo, I think still. And then that was it. I was like, once I got that, I was like, okay, this is cool.
To be like a keychain, the NDA on a keychain.
It's like a size 4 paper. Man, I'm definitely, now that I have a place of my own, hang it up somewhere, and people look at it like, whatever. And I'll be looking at it every day like, that's a piece of paper that means something. Like I don't even know where my school diplomas are, like my degree and everything.
But you've got the Jagex NDA on the wall. Well, we're coming up on the top of the hour here, so I should probably wrap things up. It was good finally getting to talk to you, Mark.
I never want these things to end.
Oh, yeah, this is great. We got to hang out. Like I said, join my Discord, and anybody that's listening, please join my Discord and give me some video ideas. Just talk to me in general. I'm very chill there. I'll talk to whoever. Maybe I'll start doing the streams from there as well at some point. But by all means, come by and say hi. Don't be a stranger. But we'll still be on next week, same time, same place. So hope everybody can make it, and we'll see you then. And the rest of you guys have a great week, and I'll see you around on Discord. So take it easy, guys. And thanks again, Mark.
No, thank you.